You're watching The Ugly Inside? Subscribe below.
Welcome to a special edition of TUI Transfer Talk. So the reports that we've all been expecting over the last couple of weeks, Jose Fonte has officially left the club for West Ham United on with Clive, and it's £8 million. The money has been tabled there, rising to 10. 33 years old. It's a good meal. It's a good move for good business for the football club, isn't it? First of all,
well, is it? I don't know how much staying in the Premiership is worth, but Jose would be a rock in that defence, and I think that, yes, if you look at it, 8 million plus 2 million add-ons is good money, but in today's world, what does money mean? What does it mean? When I've seen some of the players that have gone, I've just heard some of the deals that are being mooted around and some of the money that's been mooted around. Is 8 million good? It's okay. It's only good. It's like when you move house. It's only good if you replace what you've lost with something better for the same price.
And in today's special edition, what we've asked you guys at home is to send you your thoughts. So what we're going to do first of all, we're going to go to our first video.
So the captain, Jose, is off to West Ham for £8 million, rising to 10 over appearances. He wants a transfer. He's put requests in, as everyone knows, so £8 million for a 33-year-old is quite good. We bought him for £1 million back in League One 7 years ago. He's made 280 odd appearances for us. He's been a good servant. The way he's left is a bit strange. Who knows what's gone on? Is it for money? Has he had a fallout behind the scenes, or is it both? We'll have to wait for his book, his autobiography, to find out. So wish him all the best, but I hope we beat him on the 4th of Feb. So thank you, Jose.
All right, so Wizz sent us his video. Said we're going to have to wait for his book for the truth to come out.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. And like he says, I'm with Wizz. I hope we beat him because he's got a very swift return, hasn't he, here at St Mary's, coming down in a few weeks' time with West Ham. So that's going to be quite a juicy affair. I hope that the fans don't give him the Lovren treatment, because I don't think he deserves that. And the more and more players that leave Southampton, prominent players that leave Southampton, you have to say, what are we going to end up doing? Booing every bloody team, every single game? There's something fundamentally wrong when your best player, I wouldn't say he's the best player, but he's a very important player, and the captain want to leave the club. Why? Why do they want to leave the club? I don't think it's money. I think there's been problems behind the scenes. I do think it's a clash of personalities with the manager. And I think that is the truth of the matter. Yes, of course, he wants to do better for himself. He's won the European Championships with Portugal. He's a winner. Why is he going to West Ham? Well, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. At the end of last season, we were in a position to win things, in my opinion. If we'd added to that squad, we were in a position to win things. OK, so we lost the players in the summer. We've lost Jose now. Somewhere along the line, the tide has to turn the other way. Saints have to start signing players. Saints have to start rebuilding. And that starts now.
And he said, that, obviously, the truth. We are referring to, of course, the rumours that suggest that Powell has fallen out with Jose, and that's the reason why he's left the club. But let's get on to our second video then. So the next one was in from Nick.
So I heard the news a couple of days ago that Jose will be leaving us, which is a shame because he's one of the last League One players. It's disappointing, especially to West Ham as well. That's the hard thing about all this. The money's probably about right, 8 million. It'd be sad to see him go. He's been a good captain for us. But I suppose good luck, Jose, in the future.
So Nick said the money was about right, and to be honest, £33, like we said at the top of the show, 33 years old, £8 million, good bit of business, but it's sort of Nick looks a bit disappointed there. Sad to see him go as well.
I think that's the thing that I got out of that the emotions of Nick were really, really down. We've got a League Cup final. Well, you never know, we might have one to look forward to. We'll find out next Wednesday. But we've got a semi-final to look forward to. And we really should be buoyant right now. We really should be buoyant. But that's the feeling, that fans are like, oh, God, another one of our kingpins have gone. Another one of our kingpins have gone. And why?
When is it going to stop?
Well, this is it. This is it. When the club needs some leadership. The club now, they've got their leader on the pitch is gone. The club off the pitch, there needs to be some serious leadership from Mr. Kruger and Les Reed. They need to come out with statements of intent. because confidence of the fans is ebbing away. I could see that in Nick's emotions there. The confidence of the fans is ebbing away, and that needs to be repaired right now in the next 10 days, because keep saying it, we lose the next 2 league games, we're in a relegation scrap, seriously in a relegation scrap. So we can stop that, you know. We can look the other way. We can be finishing 7th or 8th, but the only way we're going to do that is by investing in new players. Simple as.
So on to the next one. We've got a very passionate rant from Geoff in next.
I have mixed views on the whole situation, really. I'm disappointed as a fan that one of our key players from previous seasons, who's done well for us, hasn't been given a new contract so he could become a club legend. I'm also disappointed that he's been allowed to keep the club captaincy role if he's not really been the manager's plans as such for the duration of this season. I'm disappointed that he didn't feature in our Europa League games. I'm also disappointed that the player, whoever they are, is not just leaving our club, but leaving the club fantastic supporters like myself and many others who work tirelessly hard to support the team. And yet you see players not only leaving, but leaving to mediocre clubs. Jose Fonte is not going to West Ham to win things. He's not going to West Ham to further his career. And I find that very disappointing as a fan, and I'm sure a lot of other fans do. The positive views on the situation from my point of view, you sell a player, buy a player, supposedly for £1.5 million, who has his best years at the club, and then you sell him for $8 million. I think that, you know, that's great business. But like you said, you don't want to be losing your players to teams like West Ham. My other criticism is, you know, he played so much for us last season, and I just fear that if we get good money for him, if we get $8 million for him, like I said, that's good business. But I just fear that the money won't be reinvested in the team. If we rely on youth too much, we could gradually start going backwards as a club. Yet on the other hand, we have got some good youngsters and good young players coming through, and, you know, with a little bit of help with a few transfer additions, and, you know, mix the youth with experience, we could continue to do well. So
very passionate rant. Thanks, Geoff, for that. So the overall emotions there, really disappointment. I love the passion from Geoff. You know, he said disappointing to see him leave for a mediocre club. Yeah. He's not going to win things at West Ham, though, is he? You know, he's not going there to, you know, invest in his career, if you like. He's got a couple of years left until he can retire, maybe 4 years. We don't know, but he's leaving loyal fans behind.
Yeah, and it's sad, and I think with Geoff's emotion there, it's about the club lowering its not lowering its standards, but losing the standards that we have. We got to a level, and gradually we can see this great team that we had, and you know, with a lot of hope for the future being eroded, and I think that's what he's worried about. Okay, players come, players go. I think what he said there is it's like a fact of life, you know, and it's sad. And 8 million. Okay, it's going rate, what we got, but what are we going to do with that money? What are we going to do with that money?
As Geoff said, there is a fear that we're not going to reinvest in the team, and like you said sort of earlier on, we need to act fast now. We need to make sure that we do invest, and I hope there is somebody that the club do have lined up, because otherwise we are, like you said, we might get drawn into a relegation fight.
I think as much as anything, we're getting a reputation now in football, and it's very hard to lose those sort of reputations there. Players come in, they do well, they get sold. And then how can the club ever move forward without those players actually staying and adding to it? We had a fantastic opportunity at the end of last season to add to a great team, but we really are in a difficult situation right now.
It almost seems like, to me, we've stalled our progress. It was always going to be tough at the beginning of this season to go one better than we did last season.
Yeah, but we've spent minus £30 million now. Minus 30, and that's not even touching the Sky money. So we keep saying it. Where is the ambition? Where's the ambition? Where is the reward for the fans that have supported us through thick and thin? You know, and where is that? Where is the money going to be spent? You know, when is it going to be spent? Because we've got 10 days. We've got 10 days. The January window is the hardest window to get any sort of sensible deals done, because people know now, the rest of football knows Southampton need a centre-half. They know Southampton needs a forward. They're going to whack those prices up. So,
and of course, we've seen that report suggest that Liverpool are holding out for $20 million for Mamadou Sakho.
Well, Sakho, he's a very committed player, but we all know he's a bit of a loose cannon. I would never pay $20 million for that man. Surely there's better options. Don't get me wrong, he's not the worst player in the world, but $20 million? Please. If Mane was 36 How can Sacco be 20? Seriously. Oh, God.
It's mad, the transfer market.
Madness.
On to our next one then, from Rob in the shadows.
In my opinion, Jose wanted to leave the club back in the summer after the Euros. His head was turned by various people. He may not have even met Claude Puel by then. I don't blame the manager for not playing him recently either, because he didn't want to play for the club. Anyway, good luck, Jose. You've been fantastic for Southampton. Pity you got to move away, but I think it's a bad move.
So first of all, let's just say that Rob obviously wished Jose well. The overall point that we can take from there, that Jose's head was already turned in the summer before he had actually met Claude Puel.
We don't know what happens behind the scenes. We don't know, what agents do and their effect on things. In terms of him not playing for the Saints recently, I would like to look at one of his last games when Wanyama turned Virgil inside out in the penalty area and was just about to score, and Virgil did an amazing tackle to stop Wanyama scoring. Now, to me, that is not someone who hasn't got their heart in the club. I think there's other problems, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and respect to Rob and respect for him to wish him well, because I don't want to see Jose, when he comes back, I don't want to see him booed. It's just sad when people do that. I would boo Lovren. Yeah. But Jose's over the years has done the business for us.
Yeah, the statistics are 288 appearances for the club over 7 years.
Yeah, and dedicated, and a very, very professional guy. Is one of the fittest guys in the club at 33. Totally dedicated to training. No problems discipline-wise in that respect. So I think West Ham have got a decent deal. I think he will go for the next. The one thing, look, he's come through the years, hasn't he? Look, when he went League One to the Championship, we all thought he's going to be one of the better players. But when he went Championship to the Premiership, we thought he might be struggling. But season on season, he's actually improved. And whilst he hasn't got the most pace in the world, his reading of a game is exceptional. And of course, with that combination with Virgil at the back, that is something you can't buy. That is something you can't buy.
Okay, so on to our next one. Then we've got Rory, who sent us in a video.
Really sad to see him go, first of all. Been a great servant to the club, great captain, great leader. It's been almost exactly 7 years now. I had a look the other day on Wikipedia. He joined on the 9th of January 2010. So it's been 7 years of service to the club. Fantastic player as well. But at the end of the day, after handing in the transfer request, I don't think we could really expect him to stay for the rest of the season. So now that he has gone, I think the most important thing is just to try and reinvest some of the money towards not only a striker but another defender. I think the club are in talks with Sacco to get from Liverpool, either on loan on a permanent basis. So as long as we do replace him, as it probably looks like Virgil will probably go at the end of the season. So as long as we can replace Font and get Gardos back fit as well, that'd be perfect. But yeah, really sad to see him go. I don't think it's been handled that well at all. But after handing in the requests, I think we're just sort of, in a way, as us Saints fans, probably glad that he has gone now. We can just focus on getting on with the games.
Okay, thanks, Rory, for sending that in. So really, sad to see him go, as we sort of tapped upon recently. But the whole situation hasn't been handled too well. It all went a bit pear-shaped, and it's all gone very sour in the last few months.
Yeah, it has. It has, and I think he's got a point there, but Rory. But I do think that it got to the situation where it was Jose or Claude that was going to go, because I think there's a clash there.
Something had to give.
Something had to give, and the club have backed the manager. Time will prove whether that's right or not. Again,
Rory, thanks for sending that in. So on to our next one, Mike, a bit of a cult figure now in the itching stand.
However, what he could have done, he could have stayed here for the rest of his contract, took 80 grand a week, the increased offer we got, had an extra year extension, walked out into a training job over at Staplewood, been an absolute Matt Letizia-esque Saints legend. But he's going to West Ham for the money. Oh well, never mind, shit happens, we all got to move on. Hopefully the young lad Stevens will come through, Gardos will get fit. It's the way it is. West Ham, sideways move for him, I think, but I think he stuck in the old transfer request and the club called his bluff. Off he goes, we move on. Thanks very much. See you on Sunday.
Cheers, Mike. So, like I said, he could have been a club legend just like Matt Lettiers. If he, went on for the rest of his career, he would have gone down in folklore. I think he's gone down in folklore already, but as Mike said, shit happens.
Yeah, Mike's put a smile on my face with his style there. And you can take on it whichever way you want, but we have to move on. The decision's been made. I don't like it personally because I loved him as a player and he's done so much for us. But yeah, money, I'm not quite sure. If it's money because I don't think there's going to be a lot between us and West Ham. So,
as you said, it seems like a sideways step in his career. They're only 1 point above us in the table, and he's gone to West Ham. You could argue that they are one of our closest rivals in the Premier League right now.
I think they are very similar. They're very similar. I think there's 4 or 5 teams like that. Who comes out of it, we will see. Only time will tell. All I can say, and sadly, it's our loss and West Ham's gain, I think. But football-wise, I just thought we got past the point of no return, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Mike also mentioned there that we've got Gardos now making his way back. Do you think we can see him back in the first team? Do you think we really need to invest into a new centre-back? We've got Stevens and Gardos ready to step in.
I do think we need to invest. Florin is just about back. He's just about back, and he needs some serious games under his belt. God, Jack is a great prospect, but would I want to? If things go wrong in the next few weeks, would I want to chuck Jack into a relegation scrap?
It's sink or swim.
It might be the making of him. I personally, my gut feeling is he will be a seriously good player, and I've got a lot of confidence in the guy. But it's not the greatest football situation. You'd like to think that you want an experienced guy in there alongside Virgil, taking us forward and getting us over the line points wise, because I think that's the first thing we have to achieve. Somewhere between 36 and 40 points will be enough, and then you have to say, well, okay, if you can get there early, let's go on and see where we can finish up.
Okay, on to our next one, and this one's sent in from Jody.
My thoughts on Jose Fonte potentially leaving the club today, as the thoughts are tinged with sadness, because Jose, along with Calvin Davis, for me, have been the mainstream of the players at the training ground, in the changing room, that have really driven us from the depths of League One up to European football. So to lose him, I think, is a big blow to the football club, and that you could tell that when all the other players were going, that he kept us going by the way that he talked in the media, and it was always welcoming other players in, and the Southampton way and the "We March On" slogan and things like that. I think Font was behind all that. It's a shame that it's come to this. I don't know the ins and outs, obviously, of why he's going, why the contract extension. He says he's never been offered one, and people at the club have said that he was, and etc. But I think from a fan's perspective, when you don't work for the football club, when you don't know what goes on inside changing rooms and in board rooms, you have to look at it from a fan's perspective. So put all that aside, and feel upset that we're losing a top-class player, a top-class defender, but also a man that has done so much for the football club. Like I said, from all them years back. Yes, Southampton gave him the platform of the £1 million transfer from Palace. Did Southampton really think that he would still be here now, playing to the level that he has been? There were times when I questioned him in League One and the Championship and the Premier League. And you look at Lovren, Alderweireld and Van Dijk, they've always had Font next to him. And I think that, he'll certainly be in my all-time 11. And I know that's probably controversial, in Dean Richards, Michael Svensson, Virgil van Dijk. But I would always have Font in front of them, and one of them next to him. Purely and simply because of his passion and the way he's led. And I think that stopped this year. That's the disappointing thing for me. I haven't seen that enthusiasm before games and during the games. I mean, my favourite moment, my oldest daughter will tell you when we watch the game, my favourite moment at St Mary's over the last 3 years is when the music's playing, the crowd are cheering just as the players have come out, and Font leads the team out, claps the chapel stand, and then just gives an almighty scream. And it really does give, put the hairs on the back of your neck up. So it's a real shame that he's going to be going. £8 million, if that's the fee for someone at his age, is good business. But I would argue that to replace him, you've got to spend a lot more. I don't wish him all the best because I don't want him to go to another football club and do well. I'll be honest with you. I'm a Southampton fan through and through, so I just thank him for everything he's done. And for me, he will always be what I used to say in my posts about him, #captain, #leader, #legend. Thanks, Jose.
So a very passionate plea from Jody. He was quite upset, to be honest. As you said, Fonte's been a great leader on and off the pitch, has been a fantastic servant, like some of the early guys have said. And he would be in the all-time starting 11 for Southampton players and always be a club legend forever.
Yeah, I'll concur, Jody. You're right, mate. And I feel kicked in the guts myself and really down about it all. Obviously, we can't dwell on that because we've got lots of things happening in the next week, starting on Sunday. But he's dead right. He's dead right when you analyse it all. And like we said before, the transition from League One to Championship to Premiership, the different guys that he's played with, and he's been the leader. He's been the leader of the pack. And it's always a sad day when somebody like that leaves. We've got to look for a new leader now.
It's almost like every season, as Jody said, he questioned his ability in League One, Championship and Premier League. It's like Fonte's actually reinvented himself every season and adapted his game and, taken us to the next level. Yeah, well,
I think his fitness helps him very much. Fitness and passion for the game and passion for the Saints. As, obviously something's gone wrong this season, which we're trying to identify on here. We've all got different opinions. I think the most important thing is to say thank you to Jose, but to move on and to try and be positive with these next few games coming up, because it's a massive challenge for us,
And he mentioned sort of briefly on Virgil there as well. He's been beside Fonte recently in the partnership. Do you think Virgil's got what it takes to step into the shoes of Jose? And obviously the longevity is a factor as well.
This is the problem. We're all thinking, well, is Virgil going to be off in the summer? But look, let's look right now, right here. Virgil's that very obvious choice. He's got passion. He's got tremendous ability, tremendous physical strength. Gets the crowd going. What's the loudest chant in the ground? Sadly,
your favourite song, Clive.
Favourite song. But it's the loudest chant, isn't it? It's the loudest chant because he's the best player. Technically, he's the best player and he's got a lot of heart. But we've got to keep that heart with Southampton. We've got to start rebuilding from Sunday.
On to the next one. Then we've got Luke that sent in his thoughts.
It really is a shame that Fonte's had to go in this manner. But at the end of the day, he made his bed and now he's got to lie in it. I think that he probably assumed that the bigger clubs were interested, the likes of United and Liverpool. Probably saw the pound signs and thought, I'm going to run to it after the success at the Euros. And I think that that's really what infatuated him. I think he was infatuated in his own success, and that's eventually come to bite him. And now West Ham, alright, they're not a bad club, but they're not the United or the Liverpool that he was hoping for, and I think that he will be regretting that decision. However, it is going to be strange seeing him in a West Ham shirt, and although he will go down in Southampton folklore as one of the players that really did help us get back to where we are, the way in which he left has left a sour taste in everyone's mouth, and I think that ultimately is what he's going to be remembered for. And I think that's a bit of a shame, but it is his own doing, and he's just going to be one of those that have left in the last year disrespecting the club. And for me, I think the board have handled this quite well. 8 million or 9 million or whatever the fee is a pretty good bit of business, and I'm thankful for what he did in the last 6.5 years, but it's time to move on.
So the bottom line from Luke, really, he made his bed and he had to lie in it.
Well, I think whether he has or he hasn't, I think actually West Ham might be a better fit for Jose, because had he gone to United, Liverpool, whoever, I think he'd have been a bench warmer. Whereas at West Ham, he will get serious game time. So I think from that point of view, it might actually end up a better move for him. A better move. Reluctantly, I didn't want him to go.
I don't think anybody wanted us to see him go.
No. But as well as much as the board handling it very well, they've only handled it well if they replace him.
But Luke said he'll always be a club legend.
Yeah, he will be a club legend. He's earned that. I think so. No matter what anyone thinks about, he's gone for the money, or my version, which is that he's had a bust up with Poyle and it went past the point of no return. So take it or leave it. He's moved. Respect for the man for what he's done. But Saints now have to move on.
Well, time now for a quick refreshment. So up next we've got up next we've got our favourite critic, Nick.
Yeah, it's a very strange one, really. You know, it's things changed with Jose Fonte when he changed agents and went to join super agent Jorge Mendes. When he came back from the European Championships, there was rumours about Man United, and I think there was a little bit of a attempt by his agent to wedge him into Man United. Well, with Mourinho, well, they had a chance, but that fell through. And I think, you know, he just burnt a lot of bridges over the last few months, and it meant that his position here was a little bit untenable. I don't think it's completely black and white. You know, there's a few things that will come out, I think, in the wash eventually, but it's just a sad ending for someone who's been here 7 years.
So the bottom line is, it seems like you and Nick are finally on the same page.
I don't know. It's just, well, we are in the fact it's a sad ending. Yeah, I don't quite go with the agent thing. Not keen on agents, full stop. Agree with that. But I think there's deeper problems. I think there's other problems.
Yeah, Nick said that the bridges have now been burnt by Jose.
Yeah, I agree with him that there's a point of no return. I agree with that. And the club have to move on, the team have to move on.
But on to our next one, another one in the dark. Ed?
So Jose's finally fleeing the nest. Another one gone. But a true Saints legend at the end of the day. Always remember his goal against Brighton when we were in League One. We came back to beat them 2-1 after being 1 down. But he's another player that we've had the best out of. So we just need to go out and replace him with somebody else, younger and better. I always say, support the shirt, not the player. He'll go on to do his own thing at West Ham and, like Ricky Lambert, probably disappear off into the distance. So well done, Jose. Thanks for your service, but Saints, we march on.
So bottom line there from Ed, really. True legend, echoed by some of the others earlier on. And remembers quite fondly of the goal against Brighton to take us up.
Yeah, I think that's the moment that everyone loves to remember about him. That was so pivotal, because promotion certainly wasn't assured at that point. And we were 1-0 down at the Withdean, and you know, to come back like that was one of those all-time ecstatic moments for our loyal away fans. So yeah, that's a really happy memory. And he's right, he will sail off into the distance, he'll do his thing, he will be professional. I still think, and I've said it many times, I think he will come back as a manager, but we'll see. You know, time will prove that one. But I just think he's been such a good professional that. And he's actually very, very dedicated to his profession, that football burns inside of him, and I think he could come back as a manager. We'll see.
Ed also touched upon that we actually got the best out of him. Do you think
I think so, yeah.
Do you think that we could have got more out of him? You know, as we sort of briefly touched upon moments ago, that, you know, he's maybe got 3 or 4 seasons left in his career.
Yeah, if you look at the guy at West Brom, what's his name, the centre half there, Macaulay, Gareth Macaulay. He's 37 now. So there's no reason why he can't. The thing is about, as I said before, about Jose, is he reads the game so well. It's not particularly the fastest player, and he's got that experience now at the top level. And in the Euros, he looks so confident. And yeah, my God. Back in the summer, we're looking at the Euros and we're looking at Jose doing what he did, and Graziano scoring a great goal for Italy, and you say, oh, fantastic, Saints players doing well, but hasn't it all gone sour? Oh dear. Oh dear. So the bottom line is, don't play for your national team because it's a bloody disaster. So yeah, keep it Saints, yeah.
So on to the next one. We spoke with Nicky from West Ham Fan TV, who gives us a brief overview on his thoughts of the transfer as a whole.
You know, it's not the fact that he's not a good player, but it's just the fact that we are screaming out for 2 positions before that. You know, we could suffer Ogbonna or James Collins in there alongside Reed, probably for the rest of the season. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it's an intent that they're bringing a better quality of centre half to play alongside Reed. But you know, I'm waiting for the centre forward. I'm waiting for the right back that we've been, you know, absolutely screaming out for not only half a season, but probably for 5 seasons, you know. So I'm not overly excited, you know, but it just it tickles my fancy a little, because they're making sure that we know that they're going out there, that they are looking, you know, they are trying to improve the squad. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him playing on a West Ham shirt, but it's not the centre forward or the right back that we desperately need. So not overly over the moon.
So those are Nicky's brief thoughts. Check out that full video over in the iCard now, and check out West Ham Fan TV whilst you're over there. So general consensus, really, not really what they're expecting, what they want.
Not overly over the moon. Well, no, but they've got a rock steady, top quality Premiership centre half. Okay, good money for us. But am I excited by Sacco? And on the other hand, one goes out, one comes in. Am I excited by Sacco? No, I'm not. I know he's got a lot of heart. And if he signs, I'll be behind him, give him every chance he that you possibly can. How do you replace Jose? I don't know. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. It's more than a player. Isn't it? But
he's a leader off the pitch as well. I think what we're looking for is somebody that has the potential to fill Jose's boots, not quite immediately, because historically, Southampton as a football club have invested in young talents to grow them into top players, and we hope that Virgil can become a Jose.
Yeah, Virgil, and you got Jack coming through, but it's hope, isn't it? Where's the surety? Where's the surety? Our Premiership future's at stake right now, and they need to act. 10 days. 10 days, Saints. Sort it out.
On to our next one then, from Dan, our young writer from the fanzine.
He has been an idol for me growing up as a Saints fan. He's the only player that has been there the whole time I've been a fan, and he's really the only member of the team. Obviously you have Kelvin Davis behind the scenes, but he is the only member of the team, really. The players, he is the only player that was with us in our old days back in League One. He's the last relic of that memory, and it's going away, and it's being wasted. That's the thing I'm angry about. It's being wasted. He's making a sideways move. I'd understand if he was going to a big club like Benfica or Manchester United, but instead of Man United, it's West Ham United. I'm just a little bit in shock, if I'm honest with you. The fact that after so long he is eventually leaving us. Not only that, but we're now in need of a centre-back. We need a new centre-back and we need to replace him quickly. I'm filming this in front of this shirt because this shirt is probably the only relic, the closest thing I have to Jose Fonte himself, because he's signed, I think that's his I believe that is his signature. So thanks Jose for signing my shirt, but also thanks for 7 years at this club, 7 years of great service. I mean, I don't really respect this move, but I respect you as a person, and I hope if managerial or coaching is going to be your future, I hope it's back at Southampton.
So you can see really the passion coming out of Dan's eyes there. He's lost an idol.
Yeah, it takes me back. Us old buggers, we're us old buggers. We can remember. This is he hit the nail on the head there, because it's his only player that's been consistent from a very young age. Of obviously he was about 9 or 10 when Jose would have started, and for me that's sort of hit the nail on the head with remembering how I felt when Mike Shannon left. I was absolutely bloody devastated. The radio did hit the wall, and so I wasn't quite. I was emotional, very emotional. But Mike came back and we had another 2 or 3 seasons. But I can understand his sadness there, and it hurts. It bloody well hurts, doesn't it? It bloody well hurts, and
And right at the very end, there it says sort of it's almost sort of a wasted move. It's a sideways, as we sort of we touched upon it earlier on the video as well. It's a sideways move. Much as we said it was with Koeman. But these people do this in football, and I don't know why this, I think I know why this move happened, but sideways, I don't know. He's going to get games, as I said, he's going to get games at West Ham. If he'd gone to Man United, I think he would have been a bench warmer. So he's at least, I think, and especially when someone gets to that stage of life, 33, looking to have the last 2 or 3 years of playing, you want to be playing, you don't want to be sat in the reserves. So whilst, yes, I agree with Dan, sideways, but you will get game time. And finally, on to our favourite Nathan Redmond critic.
I think it's Jose's situation is very similar to Koeman. Successful season, change of agent, he can do what he likes. The agent told Southampton Football Club at the end of his contract he would be leaving, or negotiate a new contract then. Saints in their wisdom think we either got to cash in on this, or Fonte goes. I don't think it's all about money, but no.
he also would like to win things, but so I cannot understand why he went to West Ham. There was an incident in Israel when he stuck up for young players like Hesketh against people that was taking Hesketh off at senior pro. Alienated the club. The club's done a thing in the past with Terry Payne, Jimmy Case. When a new manager comes in, the senior figure in the dressing room is they want them out. The new regime in. I wouldn't knock him at all. He's been a good servant for the club. And saying he's going for money, I think is stupid, really, because he can negotiate his own contract at the end of next season.
So first of all, I'm astonished that Dave didn't actually mention anything about Redmond in that piece.
Well, he did try desperately for a link, but it didn't quite turn up. But no, I think what Dave said there is very true, and it's a case of history repeating itself. And it's not just Saints. This happens at amateur level. It happens at every level of football, that a manager comes in, a new regime comes in, and the old regime that had been so successful, somebody who's been part of the furniture gets chucked on the dump. This time it's Jose, sadly, and it's our loss.
And actually, he's the first person on our list here that's actually conflicted opinions. He says not about the money this time. A few of the others earlier on said it is about the money, but I mean, what can we believe?
I'm with Dave. I don't think the money that Saints offer against what West Ham offers, there's not going to be a million miles in it, and he's got to up sticks. He's got a young family here, so he's got to up sticks for them as well. They're just growing up. So, yeah, I don't think it's about money. Okay, you could say it's not alien to him because he was at Crystal Palace, so he's used to the capital. But yeah, I don't think there's that much difference.
Thanks for watching TUI Transfer Talk and this extended edition for Jose Fonte's transfer to West Ham United. If you've liked this format in this style, let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't had your say on the videos, how about it in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more.